welcome, Ercan Bey. And the recording has started as well. So I would like to now introduce him briefly. Of course, Ali Ercan is a very dear friend of mine at the same time. And I would like to thank him for taking the invitation and being here with us and sharing his knowledge with us. Also, he is a member of the GMF family, and this is an additional contribution that he's going to provide. So, Ali Ercan Özgur has received its doctorate thesis degree from Marmara University, and also has other degrees from other universities. So he has many diplomas in this regard, I can say. And also he is the founder of IDEMA, and also is the acting manager of IDEMA, and also carries out many other duties, such as being the Secretary General for US institutions. And with many different NGOs, he has been working, such as Social Studies Foundation of Turkey, and also under the German Marshall Fund. He is a Marshall and also a twinning project manager. So we have such experience with us, and he is also in terms of social entrepreneurship, civil society, and NGOs. So there are many areas of experience that we cannot mention all of them. Hello, Ali Ercan. Thank you so much once again for being with us. So, looking forward to your remarks. And while you start speaking, I would like to take a screenshot, if I may. I cannot see you right now. I'm sorry. Hello. Let's keep you. Let me pin you to keep you there. Anyways, because all of our speakers.
Bir sabit resmimiz olsun. Evet, çok teşekkür ediyorum. Evet, buyurun.
Öncelikle çok teşekkür ediyorum. Bir kere bu projeye öncülük ettiğin için sen hakikaten alumni içinde Türkiye'ye ilk böyle bir projeyi kazandıran kişisin. O yüzden de çok kıymetli, bu projeleri almak zordur. Hem bunu alıp hem de birçok gence bunu ulaştırmak hakikaten gönüllülük olmadan yapılacak bir duygu değil. O yüzden çok teşekkürler emeğine, sizin ekibin uğraşlarına sağlık. Cumartesi sabahı da hani bu kadar gencin bir arada olması da çok çok kıymetli. Herkese de.
On Saturday morning, it's very good to have this many young people. We were talking about young people with patients, and we have such a group. It is very good. I'm talking about when you read my biography, I thought about what happened to me. Actually, when I was very young, let me speak a bit slowly because of helping the translators. There was Habitat Summit when I was 16, and I was actually a translator there, but it was important to ensure the participation of the young people, and I studied politics in the university. And there was a students' club in that. There was a students' club that I participated in. And when we were in that students' club, we were involved in the decision-making mechanisms of the university. So back at that time, I started to gain experience about the projects, about volunteerism and about the involvement, we start to see about the problems of young people or problems of the departments. I started university back in 1998. Back at that time, there were not many private universities, and the income sources of the universities were limited. Their physical facilities were limited. So we were trying to solve some problems of like food problems of students. So these were pressing problems back at that time. The first project that I involved in was a discount card project when I was a first-year student at the university, together with my colleagues from the computer engineering department of the Yıldız Teknik University. We came up with a discount card for the students to have access to discounts, and back at that time Boyner Holding had an advantage card, which was the first card which introduced shopping in installments. Then we sold this card to Boyner Holding at $150,000. So this is the first social entrepreneurship project that I was involved in. And we worked in Boyner Holding for 1 year, and we produced advantage campus card. Advantage card was already existing, and we added campus card to it. And I was responsible for instance, collecting data from universities. We were able to get students' data from the president's office of the universities, and we came up with standards. We established standards and sold such cards to students. I was responsible for operations. Of course, there were some other developments taking place in the meantime. I became involved in the International Association of Habitat. I traveled across the globe, across Turkey. I had the chance to participate in the decision-making mechanisms of young people in the municipal assemblies. We produced city cards for young people. Then we sold it to Akbank, but the card that we sold to Boyner was sold at an amount of $150,000. Then Boyner sold the whole Advantage card group to HSBC, and they sold it Advantage card at $170 million, and they sold the Advantage card campus at $23 million. We were amateurs back at time, so according to our contract, there were no articles talking about our share that we may get if that card is sold out to some other company. So there were no such articles because we were young people and inexperienced back at that time. When I also became involved in Habitat Association, I made sure that Habitat Association meets with young people and private sector. I was actually almost always involved in the social projects. Back at that time, I was not aware of the social entrepreneurship concept. So in 1998, I was never aware of social entrepreneurship or other concepts. Some of the things happened to me as I was making my own progress. I was trying to set things in order when I was on the way of becoming an entrepreneur. So when you get a huge success out of something, you follow that path. Back at that time, when it was the time for student cards, we really work hard. We mix our courses just to work on the student cards. Let me talk to you about my experience about Habitat International Association. Back at that time, United Nations was talking about Millennium Development Goals, and they were talking about local agenda, local network, local youth council, or youth participation. These were very much popular concepts back at that time, and there were also international processes. Council of Europe has a youth center in Strasbourg. There is also European Youth Council, and United Nations has youth caucus, so you may I have participated in all of them. In 2002, I was involved in the Johannesburg Development Summit as a young person. So you have the chance to develop a good perspective. My idea was always focusing on how we can put solutions into practice, how we can introduce some practical solutions into our daily lives. We are involved in social platforms, foundations, associations, youth clubs, student clubs. All of them give you a perspective, but you should give an ear to what your mind and your heart are telling to you. And I was also trying to make myself familiar with the business English, and I was trying to also make myself familiar with how to write business emails. It was also a good experience. Back at that time, it was 2001, and internet was not very much popular, but you may know Cisco. Cisco is a very large company, and Cisco local network academies was something that I saw on Google, and I emailed them. I sent an email to Vice President by accident, and he put me in CC, and he sent an email to the head of the training department of Cisco in Turkey, Mrs. Deniz, and we got contacted with them, and we had a Southeastern Anatolia project back at that time. In that project, we were trying to open up youth cultural houses in 9 provinces, and we started up a Cisco Academy, Cisco Computer Academy, and it was the first time for Cisco to be involved in such a social project in Turkey. So it turned into an association which provides IT technologies trainings to young people. It started with an email, so entrepreneurs are not afraid of taking steps. Of course, you shouldn't be too insistent or harassing people, of course, but with a little bit of chance, entrepreneurs are, in my opinion, like volunteers who are trying to resolve problems. But social entrepreneurs are caring about social problems. They are trying to transform the whole system. They are trying to resolve the problems, and they are trying to actually create an impact which can transform the whole sector. They are trying to make sure that their efforts are returned with some social impact. So that's how I can describe social entrepreneurs. Over the years, we have seen such developments. Of course, in every age, you see different things happening. In every time you see different things happening, but what you should focus on is what you want to do. We had a meeting with the Ministry of Culture yesterday, and there is a UNESCO report which was produced in 1982, and it's a UNESCO report dating back to 1982. Entrepreneurship should be enhanced in the fields of culture and arts. The recommendation from that report. 40 years later, we are still saying the same thing. We are still giving the same recommendation. Nothing has changed between 1982 and today. So we shouldn't care about what is changing in the time between. Instead of this, we should focus on the changes and transformations which could be created by the entrepreneurs or social entrepreneurs. For instance, Wikipedia is a good example of social entrepreneurship, because they change the system to a great extent. So with this experience, I'm now going to talk to you about what I have done afterwards. Let me give you a presentation, and then we can get your questions. I'm going to try to explain you what social entrepreneurship is, and I'm going to focus my attention on social economy. If you know about the ecosystem that the social entrepreneurs are operational in, and you can have a better rationale idea about how social entrepreneurs are working. These are the things, these are the structures that I started. IDEMA is like an, currently they are in, they have an office space, they are participating in EU projects, EU tenders, World Bank tenders. It's a social development company involved in many projects. We are having mapping projects in Ghana, and we are having disaster preparedness trainings and projects in Vietnam. So we are trying to create a social mechanism, and IDEMA has some spin-off like livelihood improvement food entrepreneurship program is a food entrepreneurship training program. Mostly Turkey has chef schools, but this is food entrepreneurship program in Turkish, Arabic, and English languages. 50% of the participants are coming from the migrants of Turkey, and 50% are from the host communities. Inogar Art is a art clustering center in Istanbul, on the Anatolian side of Istanbul. There is Bastas, which is a cultural center and artistic center. So we are supporting cultural and artistic initiatives. The first sustainable music festival was held in Turkey. 1,000 people participated in live concerts. Climate activities, Ömer Madra were among the participants. All the food was vegan. We collected plastic waste. We collected the waste, and 600 waste was collected, and we recycled this waste together with Şişli municipality. Then we organized a digital concert. It was the most crowded concert of YouTube Turkey. 12 million people were the viewers, and we were able to raise around 7 million Turkish lira, which are going to be provided and support as a support to artists and musicians who had a really hard time, some of them who committed suicide during COVID. And we produced a map of needs. Actually, it's a map which is making sure that those who are in need and those who can provide such needs are meeting. It was created in a time of 5 years, and 6 million Turkish lira is the circulating economy that we were able to create. And in Elazığ, for instance, earthquake, we were able to collect 90 million Turkish lira of aid. And in Izmir earthquake, we started an initiative called One Rent, One Home. Especially when the earthquakes happen during winter time, people have to stay in tents. So this is a problem, and together with the mapping engineers, we started this initiative called One Rent and One Home. And actually, thanks to the great support that we were able to get from the Turkish people, and thanks to support we get from the municipality, we were able to raise 46 million Turkish lira. We never accept money. We are only facilitating peer-to-peer meets. So those who were affected from the disasters, without waiting for the container states to be established, they were able to get a home. And in Marmara region, we created a disaster map in Marmaris wildfire. So together with NEF Foundation, Marmaris in Manavgat region, we are repairing the damages that 200 villages suffered because of this wildfire. And Eduard this also another initiative which has this perspective of development through art. So you can also check the needs map. It's actually a cooperative. Some things do not happen as we plan. When you want to create a social initiative, of course, you have to work together with the associations or foundations, which are not always non-profit organizations. So we wanted to start something else, a cooperative. the social cooperatives and platform cooperatives, which are digital cooperatives, which are new generational cooperatives. Actually, our needs analysis was something which helped us to get involved in cooperatives. This wasn't something that we planned, and there is a project in Turkey about cooperatives. It is a project of 3.3 million euros about cooperatives. We became involved in that project as well. All of these social initiatives or other initiatives, they have 6-7 partners, and we have firm belief in the power of collective partnerships. Recently, there is an approach like heropreneurs, one single person who can save the whole world. But we don't believe in that. We think that people should come together. You should be able to work together with 6-7 partners. You are a social entrepreneur, so you should be social. You should be ensuring the participation of other people. When Slovenia was the term president of the EU in last month, in October, they started to award social entrepreneurship prizes, and we were the first institution which was awarded this award. For instance, EU has a union of cooperatives which is very strong, and they think that we are not an institution, we are not a structure from Turkey. They think that we are a global initiative. So I'm talking to you about the perspective of social entrepreneurship, a business, a good community, determination, volunteerism, sources development, and then a product. So with reference to the previous speaker, first of all, you need to have a good product. You need to focus on this good product, and you should be very much focused on how to further improve and grow this product. In social entrepreneurship, it's not only money that you need, you also need social capital. For instance, the first map that we produced was not charged to us because we had a good friend and we were able to pay money to this map developer 1 year later. So beliefs and convictions are very important. Somehow you may be able to find the source, but you should have a firm belief. If you should really think hard if your solution is going to solve any problem or not. Otherwise, if this preliminary preparation is ignored, then you may fail. Otherwise, you don't have time to think about your product when the product is already in the market. So in the EU, it is actually a part, the social entrepreneurs are parts of a new emerging economy. There is this European social enterprises initiative, and they are employing like 12 million people. And so when we are talking about social entrepreneurship, we are to keep in mind that we are part of this social economy, which is an emerging economy. We are talking about social ethics. You may be an corporate, but you can contribute to the social economy, or you may be a foundation, but you may be still giving this contribution. For instance, we have a cooperative in Mersin which is generating products out of banana waste or fruit waste. For instance, World Bank is announcing a fund for 6 provinces. It will be dispersed and distributed through development agencies, and they are going to support social entrepreneurs. They are covering the provinces of Hatay, Urfa, Mersin, Adana, Antep. So there's a World Bank fund which is going to be allocated and distributed through development agencies of Turkey in these 6 provinces, targeting both migrants and host communities. So social enterprises are actually, their legal status maybe in the form of foundations or associations or cooperatives. The second way about their formal their legal form could be companies. This is not something valid in Turkey, but we see such companies which are actual social initiatives in the EU. And your project is very much about inclusiveness. When you are a social entrepreneur, you take a responsibility for the society. You pay attention to the local development, and you focus on life quality. You focus on meeting needs and solving problems, and you pay attention to collective participation. Democratic representation is very important, especially for cooperatives, and pluralism is really important because we need to be as inclusive as possible. What I would like to talk to you about in particular is social innovation. Yes, social enterprises, they are okay, but most of them are technology-based activities, and technology which leads us to social innovation. It is about making more efficient use of the social, economic, and environmental sources. It may be just finance-based problems, or there is this OPSIMO, which is actually an initiative for training children with autism, and Bursim is about making the scholarship ecosystem in Turkey more transparent, and we can put the needs maps initiative under social innovation as well. Many projects focus on technology. Technology means that you software development, software programs, but in addition, it also means people who are caring about social problems. So you need to make sure that these two different groups of people meet. It's not something that can be done only by a person with a high level of technological information, or by a person who cares about social problems greatly. So they need to work together. They need to come together, and they need to combine the elements which can provide solutions with technology. And there is a concept which is going to become more and more important in the next days to come, which is fair trade. The product that you are producing, is it something in compliance with fair trade principles? Actually, fair trade is transforming our perspective towards trade. EU has announced Green Deal. Turkey's change is the name of the Minister of Environment as Minister of Environment and Climate. So we are also starting to talk about green economy, the basis of which is fair trade. According to this concept, fighting against poverty, gender discrimination is even more important than profit. People say that you are talking about fair trade, but products which are applying fair trade are very expensive. But we need to change the question. Yes, these are expensive products, but why are the cheap products cheap? If a product is cheap, then why is it cheap? It is something that is imposed on the society by the neoliberal market, and fair trade is aiming to change this perception and mindset. Fair trade principles, first of all, providing opportunities to the disadvantaged groups of society. Yes, you can have access to cheap food, which are genetically modified, but they may lead to cancer. Fair price, fair trade, and you need to know about where this product comes from. For instance, take Bego jeans. Bego jeans is a jeans mark which is produced in Turkey. The owner of that company is actually an ex-employee of sandblasting industry. And he suffered a disease because of the sandblasting industry. So he starts to think about this problem. He starts to think about how I can start a movement of clean fashion. And I am going to create a model where I am going to produce fair trade jeans and sell it to people. So we are talking about, for instance, other principles include no child labor, increasing capacity and dissemination of the fair trade, capacity building, and being eco-friendly. For instance, there are fair train towns. They are composed of around 2,000 cities. The districts, provinces, or big cities which commit that they will comply with fair trade, they come together and they become part of this network. So Hong Kong is part of, for instance, Tokyo is part of them. So in the next days to come, what is going to happen? This social innovation is going to grow even more. If you are after social entrepreneurship and after creating inclusive economy, we have to know what kind of a product you are offering to the market, and you need to come up with good quality and transparent products. It's not like there is a women cooperative, let's buy from them to help them. It is not the transparent culture. We should be able to say that their products are that much good that I cannot choose any other company over them. So we need good products in this regard. And product and exit facilities are principles are very important. It's not like when it comes to exit strategy, it's not like I start my company and I will sell it in 3 months. It's not like a bus line between Beşiktaş and Maçka. So you don't get on the bus in one place and you get off the bus in 3 months. It's not like that. We are talking and dreaming about long-lasting products, and I don't think that these are dreams which may never come true. When we were young, we thought that these are concepts or dreams which may never come true.
Çözümlere ihtiyaç ve kaynak sağlamak artıyor olacak.
Needs for resources will increase as well. So we need to also look into making use of these opportunities, which I think are too many. So this will be my final words. Thank you so much, Ali Ercan. It was a very great presentation. It was very enjoyable to listen to. And at some points, it seems we are having some overlapping areas of work, and we would come face to face in many areas. And I think back in university, I had works concerning these habitats. So we had similar activities as to the ones that I was working on. And years ago, there was no National Youth Council. And for the establishment of this council, you actually assigned me as a deputy minister to the government of Turkey. So I was thinking, how would I be able to do that? But of course, it was taken over, and then there was the European Union Secretary General under the relevant ministry and so on. So it made me very happy to listen to your story, and I'm very proud, and I would like to say Godspeed, because everything you do is beautiful, and many of the things that I have thought about, you were able to realize. It should be a very good feeling for you. I mean, it would be very satisfactory for you, I think. Indeed, it has its own challenges. Maybe I did not discuss the other side of the medallion. Of course, it's about taking risks. If you're talking about being an entrepreneur, you have to give up some dreams. You have to give up a certain amount of your time. So it's a semi-structured, but it's at the same time, it also dwells on your experience and the opportunities that you see. So it's a preference for a career for me now. But of course, at the same time, we did many good things. Of course, that's why I say everything can be done at any corner of the earth. I mean, for instance, back in 2017, I was working as the general director for the American Chamber of Commerce. So I had the opportunity to understand how things are done. And for instance, in San Francisco, we opened the Turkish Incubation Center with the support of 5 universities. I mean, I had some friends at the Chamber of Trade. That's why this happened, of course. And we hired a space of 200 square meters. And within the San Francisco ecosystem, we worked for a year. I stayed there for 3-4 months. We also had visits from committees concerning the, for instance, the national automobile project and so on. I mean, there are many METU graduates there. There are startups started with the support of COSGAP, and TÜSİAD opened the university, some other institutions opened the university, and while everybody was to do some things by themselves, some great buyouts were also taking place. So the government of Turkey were buying out companies, startups from many different countries. For instance, T-Jump. I mean, the name could have been changed. There was a company from your side, Professor, from METÜ. And there's also Star Camp that was started by Bahçeşehir Yıldız İTÜ universities, and also including Hasan Kalyoncu University and one more. It would be Bahçeşehir, I think. So it was established under the consortium of these 5 universities about carrying the techno park companies to that conglomerate. So everything can be done anywhere. It suffices that we have taken a decision. And there was a study carried out, or an effort started by the Ministry of Culture. So Başkent University carried out a research where a incubation center was awarded. So, and with Google and with a theater corporate, we opened Sahne 2.0 or Sahne 2.0, Scene 2.0. You can look it up on the internet. So we established a studio for theater players to work with as well. So we can, as I have said, make the space for such efforts as well. So